Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about the film The Spy Who Loved Me. To commemorate Skyfall, which is Daniel Craig's third Bond movie, I thought I'd do the other actors who have made it to their third Bond movie, and today I'm going to do Roger Moore's third Bond film. An evil megalomaniac named Stromberg who wants to destroy the world and start a new civilization under the sea. And James Bond is trying to stop him. This time, James Bond is being helped by Russian agent Anya Amazonov, who is also called Agent XXX, and they're trying to stop Stromberg from destroying the world and starting a nuclear war between America and Russia so he can live under the sea with the fishes in his awesome civilization underwater, because he wants to do that. He has an amazing, incredible set that is a underwater lair. It was an excessive set. They spent tons of money on it. Stanley Kubrick even came to visit the set on one occasion. This cool lair that will rise up from the water and stuff, and eventually, he can live under there in his underwater city. Is one of kind of the more memorable sets, I think, of James Bond. And this is a very lavish film. Lewis Gilbert, who directed this, he had directed 3 Bond films. This is the second one he directed. The first one is You Only Live Twice, and the one after this was Moonraker. This is lavish even for James Bond. This film really came along at a time when the James Bond film was really at a crossroads. Albert Broccoli became the sole producer of the James Bond films after Harry Saltzman sold his shares for I think $20 million, and so Broccoli is the sole producer, and the James Bond franchise really wasn't in the greatest shape after having a go from Her Majesty's Secret Service, Diamonds Are Forever, and Live and Let Die, which all had a different actor playing Bond. Diamonds Are Forever and Live and Let Die did pretty well, but The Man with the Golden Gun, which preceded it, and which was the film before The Spy Who Loved Me, was not only probably one of the worst Bond films ever made, but didn't do very well, probably because it was one of the worst Bond films ever made. And so they really needed to make a comeback. And if you know anything about the Bond series and the Bond franchise, anytime they make a film that the public doesn't really love or isn't received very well and isn't a big hit, they always come back with a really good entry in the franchise. That seems to be a tradition. And this is kind of one of the bigger times they really had to do that. They really needed to make an awesome hit. People really didn't like Roger Moore. I mean, people still don't like Roger Moore. And I think Roger Moore has more bad Bond films than good Bond films, especially coming after Connery. Nobody could have really lived up to Connery in that role, but I think Roger Moore, who played the role in as many Bond films as Connery did, he played more official Bond films, but if you count Never Say Never Again, Connery was in 7 Bond films as well. This and For Your Eyes Only are really his 2 kind of gems in his Bond tenure. They really brought it with this one. The other 2 Moore films were more slapsticky. The first, Live and Let Die, is like this weird Hollywood answer to blaxploitation or something. That one's at least enjoyable, but The Man with the Golden Gun, there was too much slapstick. It was too stupid. It didn't really work. It didn't seem as fun and interesting as Bond usually is. And so they really needed a great Bond film. And I think the fun about The Spy Who Loved Me is Stromberg is a great villain. His reasons for destroying the world are stupid, but who cares? Because let's have Roger Moore have a really awesome Bond movie and have a really awesome set to fight this guy on, and have a girl go with him who's really attractive, Barbara Bach. This is Jaws' first film, the guy with the metal teeth. In Moonraker, they kind of ruined the character completely, and I don't think he was really as cool as he was in this film. The lighting for Jaws is a lot darker. The sequences with Jaws are a lot more fun and interesting, and I think in Moonraker they just made him stupid. But in this, he really feels like a creepy, evil, super scary, dominant villain. Even though he's goofy, I mean, he has teeth that are made of metal that can chew through everything. That's a little silly, but they actually make him terrifying in this. There's a lot of great sequences in this film. One I really absolutely love, and watched it a couple times even. The scene in the pyramids with the lighting, and they have this cool like 70s synth stuff when the lighting turns on and off, and this narration of this guy who's doing this light show with the pyramids. That is a great sequence. The lights will turn off and turn back on and someone's not there anymore, and it kind of got me really into it. Roger Moore, he's very refined, but he's very kind of silly in his portrayal of Bond. When they tone that down, I think he's really at his best. Moore would be a lot better if he's playing Bond more seriously than when he's goofy. I just never really liked that, and I don't think the goofy Bond idea ever really worked. If you thought about what you love about the James Bond films, it wouldn't be, the silly stuff. This has a pretty memorable song with Nobody Does It Better, which Carly Simon sings, which plays throughout the film. I haven't heard a theme for a Bond film played as many times throughout the film as The Spy Who Loved Me used Nobody Does It Better. With more, you get kind of 70s AM radio cheese throughout it. But that was kind of the culture at the time. I know when we look back at the 70s, we think of cocaine and disco and all these great American movies, but there was still a mainstream culture, and Bond is very much a part of that, and especially in the 70s. He wasn't very edgy. Moore is not really an edgy actor. It's very appropriate, this kind of 70s cheese and schmaltz and kitsch that's in it, but I think Moore is the perfect actor to do that through the 70s. So for his era, I think he's great for what he's doing, but overall, I've never been that big of a Moore fan. I think I dislike more of his films than I actually like. Throughout the franchise, one of the better entries, and he was very lucky to have it, frankly, at the time, and it brought back the Bond films. So if you have seen The Spy Who Loved Me and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments, and subscribe if you would like to. And come back tomorrow for another third Bond movie, because someone else has done 3.